Liverpool losing to Man City 4-0 is a fucking joke. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Yank Soccer Bets, or football, like how everybody in Europe calls it, or everybody around the world besides the States. But yeah, guys, we're back with match day 33. What a week, man. What a week of games for match day 32. Crazy results. There were, let's see, five clean sheets, but still goals. A lot of goals. So let's get right into it, guys. I'm just gonna kind of go over a brief review of what happened in match day 32, and then we'll move on to this week's predictions and bets. First game, Watford versus Southampton. I stayed away from this game, and I thought it was gonna be a low-scoring game. I think it's safe to say we all did. Southampton turned up. Danny Ings turned up, and he does what he does best. He carries Southampton on his back, and he scored a brace. So great win for Southampton. Watford just looking horrible since the restart. And they need to pick themselves out of relegation because, things aren't looking so good. But next game, we got Villa versus Wolves. Nothing short of what I predicted, which is a 1-0 win to Wolves. Wolves does what they do best. Most Wolves games are draws at halftime, but then they pick it up second half as their opponents get tired. And then now that we got 5 subs, they can really put their chances away in second half. And Traore and Jimenez are just in form right now. And that duo, man, it's insane. And Wolves games are always pretty low scoring. They always win in 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 at most. Good win for Wolves. Next game, Crystal Palace versus Burnley. This one I got wrong. I thought Crystal Palace were going to edge it 1-0. I got the correct score, but I thought it was going to be Crystal Palace. Or even a draw. I thought this was going to be maybe a 0-0 draw. Boring game if you ask me. Burnley edged this win. Well deserved. Let's move on from that game. I have nothing else to say about that game. Some of these games are pretty boring, and there's not much to say about them, like we have in match day 33. Next game, Brighton versus Man U. Man U have just been amazing since the signing of Bruno Fernandes. If there's any player right now that has changed the locker room, it's Bruno Fernandes has done the most significant change for Man U. And they're just in great form right now. They got Pogba back, and Martial is in form, scoring goals. He looks like he's going to be replacing Griezmann for the France national team. But, yeah, they got a comfortable win, 3-0. Next game, we got Bournemouth versus Newcastle. I did say I think Newcastle was going to edge this one, and they definitely did. I mean, they more than edged it. They put 4 goals past Bournemouth, who have been horrible. I'm surprised Bournemouth got on the board. I thought this was going to be a low-scoring game, if I'm being completely honest. I thought this was an under 2.5 goal a game. But Newcastle stepped it up, and St. Maximum, as I said, he was the man of the match, and he displayed it. Next game, we got Arsenal versus Norwich. If Arsenal, as bad as Arsenal... I'm not gonna say they're bad because Arteta has a good philosophy. I mean, for crying out loud, he was Pep's assistant, so he has to be decent, Sorry, guys, I apologize. But it's always unpredictable with Arsenal. And the fact that if they didn't beat Norwich, I don't know what to say about Arsenal because I find it's very difficult for me to trust Arsenal because right when you think they're gonna pull off a win, they'll lose a bottom table team, and they put all their chances away against Norwich. Norwich have been horrible since the restart. In the beginning, they look like they're gonna get relegated for sure. I think they accepted it already, and if in the beginning of the season, Pukki was kind of saving them up top and carrying the team, but Norwich haven't scored. I think maybe they scored maybe one. I could be wrong. But, yeah, they just been horrible. Next game, we got Everton versus Leicester City. Another team who's been horrible since the restart, Leicester City. I honestly believe they're getting nervous because they could have been out of the top four, or at least out of the top three, if Chelsea did not lose against West Ham. But they're going to be very desperate for a win this next match day, which we'll get into. I saw this a low-scoring game. I thought it would be under 2.5. Everton came in, and what Ancelotti has done for that team and created a good foundation. Everton look like they're in decent form. They're not in the best form, but they're in decent form. Ancelotti really made a difference, and they edged this win 2-1. Leicester City better step the game up. Next game, we got the very disappointing loss versus West Ham versus Chelsea. This was a tough game, man. It's you can see that Chelsea really need to invest in their defense, in their back line, because Rudiger and Alonso, they're just not cutting it, man. I think if it's possible, they need to get 2 fresh center backs. But I guess if they only want to get one, they need to get 1 center back, a left back, and possibly a goalkeeper. I don't think Kepa is good enough to keep them to fight against Man City or Liverpool. And so if Chelsea really want to step it up, I mean, they were winning 1-0, and then right before halftime, they conceded a stupid set piece to go into halftime with the draw, and then they ended up losing the game last minute. But I'm looking for Chelsea to come back this week. We'll get into that in just a sec. Sheffield versus Tottenham. Just goes to show you can't trust Tottenham. I stayed away from this game. I thought it was going to be a low-scoring game, but because Sheffield haven't scored, I think, maybe 1 goal since the restart at most. Sheffield have been in poor form too. I keep saying I think they're going to keep dropping down the table. They got this win, but they're going to keep dropping in the table. They had a good first half of the season, but now, with all these games coming, they don't have enough strength and depth in their squad to keep up with all these other teams who have 5 subs now. But they got this win, 3-1, which was unexpected. Granted, I think Tottenham had it hard with their calls. I think a lot of these calls they did not deserve. Lucas, when he fell in that comeback goal from Harry Kane, I don't think that was a handball. I mean, he was falling. What else was he supposed to do? He wasn't even looking at the ball. He put his hands down to save himself from hitting his face, and they still marked it, which I think is very unfair. So I understand Mourinho's his anger, and I mean, I'd be pissed off too. Now, next game, very disappointing. I'm very disappointed. Not like Liverpool give a fuck, but to lose to your rivals 4-0, I think that's very, very, very horrible, man. That is a joke. That's disappointing. You are the champions. Liverpool should have put in a good game. They couldn't even get on the score sheet, and I think that's very, very sad. I understand you guys are coming off a hangover from partying all week after announcing that you guys were champions, but it's your rivals. I mean, show some professionalism and put on your big boy boots for this one, and at least get on the score sheet, and don't allow 4 goals from your rivals. The fact that Man City did that, kudos to Pep Guardiola and their professionalism and just showing that they could be easily the better team. The fact that they had Laporte injured for most of the season, really affected them. But, just goes to show, I think Liverpool, that is a joke. That is unacceptable from Liverpool, from the current champions. And being here in the States, it really pisses me off because stuff like this kind of pissed me off for the fact that, like, in European football or soccer, they don't have playoffs. Because as you can see, Man City could easily, from this game, you'd be like, Man City should be champions. I mean, they look at how they demolished Liverpool. They're a way better team than Liverpool. But I said, I guess I'll cut them some slack because they're coming off a hangover. I mean, who knows how many of them got fucking drunk this whole week from being champions after, 30 years? But yeah, guys, let's move on to match day 33. Enough of match day 32, and I know that's what you guys came for. Guys, keep in mind, if you guys are enjoying this video, please leave a like and hit that notification bell. That way you guys can get my match day predictions and bets for every week. And and I want to hear your guys' predictions. So Leave it down in the comments what you guys predict. That way we can compare our predictions. You guys don't have to leave bets if you don't like to, or leave the bets that you really like. Bets that you think are a giveaway. And let's move on, guys. So match day 33. So first game, we got Norwich versus Brighton. Norwich is at plus 240, draws at plus 225, and Brighton to win is at plus 120. I'm going to stay away from this game just because I don't know. I feel like this is the game Norwich can get something out of, and being desperate for a win or some sort of points. I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't know, because Norwich, what they've shown the last couple games is that they're not. They have accepted defeat already and relegation. So I don't know, man. I mean, that's what I can see Brighton nicking it 1-0, but it's gonna be a low scoring game. So I think the best bet, if you're gonna bet for this one, I think it's an under 2.5 game at negative 130. It's not a bad bet. All right. So next game we got Leicester City versus Crystal Palace. I want to stay away from this one because I can see a 1-1 draw, and draws are really hard to bet on. But I mean, you know what? I think I'm gonna risk it. I think I'm gonna go Leicester City to win. Leicester City is at negative 150, draws at plus 255, Crystal Palace at plus 475. I think Brendan Rodgers is gonna get on their backs. Is gonna get on his team, and they need a win. Like I said, Chelsea, Man United, Wolves, they're all right behind them. If they don't step up their game, they're gonna lose a championship place, Champions League place, possibly even Europa League. And they did so great. If they didn't do as good as they did in the first half of the season, and they would be like this, they'd be a mid-table team, if not worse. So Leicester really got to pick it up. And if you want to risk it, I see a Leicester win here and under 4.5 goals. I can see them winning maybe 2-1 is my prediction. So Leicester City and under 4.5 goals is at negative 110. Great bet. Almost even. Next game, we got Man United versus Bournemouth. Man United is at negative 575. Draws at plus 600. And Bournemouth is at plus 1500. Bournemouth have just been horrible all season for the most part, especially after the restart. I see nothing but a Man U win here. But how do we get our money's worth? How do we get any value on this bet? I think the best way to get on this game, if you're not going to put in a parlay, because I'm probably going to put this in a parlay and go with maybe like a -1 spread, or maybe even Man U in over 1.5 goals, something like that. Which they're not worth it if you're just going to do a single bet. But that's my opinion for a parlay. This would be a good game to stick into a parlay. But Man U to win and for both teams to score, no. At -130 is a good bet. Because like I said, I see nothing but a Man U win here, and I see something like along the lines of a 2-0, maybe 3-0. They've kept so many clean sheets, Man United have, and Maguire really has solidified their back line. And like I said, I mean, they got Bruno Fernandes and they got Pogba back, and Ole has stepped up his game. You know, he really has. I sound like such an American, huh? He stepped up his game. You know, I've always said the fact that I have an American accent. Well, for me, it's not an accent, right? But if there's anybody overseas watching this, it makes me sound like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I always rather hear someone with a foreign accent talk about soccer/football than an American, because I feel like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Move on. Next game. We got Wolves versus Arsenal. I'm not gonna go for a winner here because we'll get into that right now. We got Wolves at plus 120, draw at plus 235, and we got Arsenal at plus 240. Obviously Wolves is the better team here. They've won every single game since the restart, and then Arsenal have picked it up recently after Mikel Arteta came in. But I don't know. It's really hard for me to have confidence in Arsenal. I mean, just when things are going good, they let you down. So I don't know. But it's because it's really hard. This is the Premier League, so it's really hard to get. If you're not Man City and you're not Liverpool, it's hard to get on a 4-game winning streak. So I feel like Arsenal can get something out of this game. I can see this to be a possible draw, maybe a 1-1 draw. Excuse me. So what I'm gonna go for, I think the best bet would be both teams to score at -115. I think both Arsenal have a lot of quality up top, and they rested Pepe last game, so he's gonna be fresh. Aubameyang has picked up some form. Wolves have been scoring goals. Traore and Jimenez, like I said, and then so I see both teams to score. I can see this as a draw. Maybe Wolves nick it 2-1, but I think both teams to score is the best bet. Next game, we got Chelsea versus Watford. Chelsea's at -225. Draws at +340, I believe. Yeah, 340, and Watford's at +650. Watford have just been horrendous since the restart. I think Chelsea are going to pick it up. They're very disappointed in their loss against West Ham. I think even a draw would have been very disappointing. But the fact that they lost, Lampard is going to get on them. And you can see in the post-match interview that he's pissed, and he even said it. This is a story of their season. This has been going on all season. So he's going to expect them to come back, and I expect them to come back. So I see a Chelsea winning over 1.5 goals, and that's at -130. I think I'm going to combine Man United and Chelsea in a parlay because I think both teams need a win, and they're both eager to get into that top four and push Leicester out. So yeah, that's a good parlay. I might add it with one other game. I'm not sure what game yet, but we'll get to that in just towards the end of the video. Next game, we got Burnley versus Sheffield. Burnley's at +190. Sheffield's at, draws at +195. Sheffield is at +170. You know, I'm gonna stay. This is another game I'm gonna stay away from. I feel like this is gonna be a low-scoring game, very low-scoring game. However, Sheffield did put 3 goals past Tottenham, and I think that was very unexpected. So because they haven't scored at all, I think maybe once since the restart. Did I say that already? I feel like I said that already. I think I feel that way because this is my second time recording this, because the first time I was extremely blurry, so I was like, you know what, I can't release something this horrible, so I'm redoing it. I see a draw here, maybe a 1-1 draw that at most. But like I said, it's very hard for me to bet for a draw, so I think I'm going to go under 2 goals Asian handicap at -120. I think it's the best bet, so at least if there's 2 goals, you get your money back. Okay, I'm going to try to hurry on here because my camera's about to die. So next game, we got Newcastle versus West Ham. Newcastle's at +165, draws at +225, and West Ham's at +170. This is another game I'm going to stay away from. West Ham I'm not going to stay away from this game. West Ham came off a good win from Chelsea. Newcastle came off of a good win as well. So I see both teams to score. I think that's the best way to go. Both teams to score, yes, at -140. That's a good bet. So we got next game. We got Liverpool versus Villa. We got Liverpool at this is a very disappointing joke, Liverpool, at -315. Draw at +450, and Villa at +800. Yeah, like I said, back to Liverpool, very disappointing. It's a joke that they lost 4-0. They couldn't even put one in the back of the net. I guess I could be salty because I lost a lot of money. All I was asking was for both teams to score. That's all I was asking for, Liverpool. That's all I was fucking asking for. Granted, you guys played well in the first 30 minutes, but after that, the fact that you guys let Man City put 4 away and you couldn't even put 1 away, it's very disappointing from the current champions. I think that's a disgrace. It definitely is. And I'm not even a Liverpool fan, so if there's anybody here who is a Liverpool fan, I think you guys need to accept the fact that it's also very unacceptable. But let's move on. I think Liverpool are going to come, after all that, I think Liverpool are going to come back to winning ways. This one's kind of iffy because I think they're going to win, but how do you get your value? I want to say Liverpool to win at under 4.5 goals at -125, but I feel like if they're so pissed off, I feel like they're going to come back and just let it out, let their steam out on Villa and go off on them and win maybe 5-0, 5-1. So I don't know. This is an iffy one. I still think the safest bet would be Liverpool and under 4.5, but you know, I think a small stake would be good in this game because I don't know how Liverpool are going to respond to this, to that embarrassing game against City. So let's move on. Enough of Liverpool. Southampton versus Man City. We got Southampton at +800, draw at +450, and Manchester City at -325. I see nothing but a City win here. They just demolished the current champions. How do you get your value? Southampton putting 3 goals last match day. Ings, like I said, in great form. And City being City, putting a bunch of goals in. I can see Southampton. I can see both teams to score. But even if they don't score, I see I see Man City putting in a display of goals. So I can see nothing but a City win here and over 2.5 goals and negative 115. I think that's a great bet. Last but not least, the last game, we got Tottenham versus Everton. Tottenham's at plus 105, draws at plus 250, and Everton's at plus 245. I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know how Tottenham's gonna react to that loss last match day against Sheffield. But I'm gonna stay away from here. I'm gonna stay away from the outright winner here. So I'm just gonna go with both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. I think, which could be a little risky because most of these teams don't really. They usually keep it tight in the back. Disregarding this last game with Tottenham. But I think both teams will get on the score sheet. It could be a 1-1 draw, but I can see one of them nicking it. And maybe, as much as I don't want to say, I can see Tottenham maybe nicking it 2-1 just to respond from their disappointing loss. But like I said, I wouldn't trust Tottenham to bet on an outright winner. So I'm just going to go with both teams to score and over 2.5 at plus money, at plus 125. So that's not a bad bet. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you liked it, please leave a like. It just makes me feel better about myself. It doesn't do anything other than that. And leave your predictions down below. That way we can compare. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I wish everybody the best of luck. And I'll see you guys on the next one, guys. Peace.